Hiya. Thank you for joining me. I see there's a few people that are watching this live right now, and I just got off a call with one of my amazing clients, and she asked me the question, John, what's it like for you to create the content that you do? Like, what's it like for you to create posts and communications that challenge people and trigger people? And in that, my response was like, this is what I'm built for. This is what I do. This is my gift that I've cultivated over my lifetime of being able to antagonize and shock people into facing their reality of what's going on in their life. And in that, like the title of this post is, what is it like to be a pioneer and synthesizer of new? It means that no one's going to do it like this again. It means that I'm doing something new. It means that I'm refusing to be part of the cookie cutter coaching slash healing way of communicating. And for those of you that have been in my group for a while or have seen some of my earlier work or have worked with me, you know that my heart is in a correct place. It's in a good place. And when I create what I create, it's to push you to a point to see where you stand. And if what your beliefs are been constructed from is your family dynamic or the church or some kind of ideology that you're possessed by, then what I say is going to activate you to challenge me. And that's okay, you can challenge me, I'll challenge you back. And in that challenging, there can be a temptation for the spiritual bypassing to come up, or not being with the cognitive dissonance of, oh, what I believe somebody else doesn't believe, therefore I need to make them believe what I believe. And in all of my work, a lot of it boils down to validation of who you are and what's going on right now, until you're validated so much that you're sick of the life that you're living and do something about it. So for those clients that I work with who have an oral type injury, they will keep on telling me the same story over and over again until they realize that, oh my God, I've told you this story before. Like, I've told you this, like this thing that happened when I was 8 years old or 12 years old, or this thing that my dad always told me or my mum always told me. And there's a moment where you're disgusted at your expression in the world. And in that disgust creates an access into transformation of what it is that you really want, what it is that you really want to create. So this client that asked me the question, like what it's like for me, and I said there's a heaviness, like it exacts a heaviness on my body and my willpower to hold the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune and the desperation and the despair and the devastation that can be aimed at me from me challenging people's status quos of what their relationships look like, what their spiritual practices look like, what their life looks like, where habits become a justification for living a life out of integrity with yourself. Because if you're listening to this, then I assert that you are an individual who's out to carve your own path, your own signature. And if you have kids, then you'd love your kids to be able to do the same. Your kids to be able to stand on your shoulders and create the life that they want, that they feel aligned for. And if you're not living your life, then you're not going to be able to hold a container for them and encourage them to go to wherever it is that they want to go. And that's okay, because every generation does a little bit better than the last, which is why when I create what I create, I know that my creations are timeless. What I've sowed into your psyche through my creations will last. Like it's like a seed. It's like the popcorn kernel that gets stuck in your teeth, or that piece of floss that, breaks off from the larger piece of floss and gets stuck in your teeth, or something that you're trying to get out of your mouth, but it's somewhat still there. It's an irritation. There's an agitation that what I'm saying is truth, and it irritates you, and that's okay. Because if you want to look at it, if you want to unpack it and be with it all and see that it's an irritation because it's not true for you, you've borrowed it and therefore you don't embody it, then we can unpack that. And my most potent work is one-on-one work. Now, attempting to understand what I'm saying or trying to make sense of it with the mind, you're missing out on a large component of what I create. A lot of my creations will stimulate an emotional response in you, a feeling response in you, which, if you can be with it, that's where the juice is. That's where the nuggets of wisdom lie. If you can be with that stimulus response, and who's the guy that wrote that book about the? It'll come. The stimulus response. So my work will stimulate something inside of you, and then the distance between when you will respond, and that's up to you. And in that, if your instincts are injured, then you'll respond in a way that's to defend what it is that I've poked a hole at. Now, I can only poke a hole at it if there's holes to be poked in it. If it's the ultimate truth, then there's no holes to be poked in it. So in that, I want to share with you a few things that's coming up, and stick around for this, because you might get I think you'll get some benefit out of these. So I'm dropping a podcast that I recorded with Joel and Yerasimos from Here for the Truth. It's an amazing podcast. And their podcast series is very potent and aimed at people who are looking to question the status quo, who are looking to break free of the dysfunctional family systems and societal systems and the internal systems that keep you trapped in a world of mediocrity, believing that what you're doing is best for you when it's really just to keep everybody else around you happy. So that podcast should be dropping in on Sunday, Sydney time, and I'll get it posted when it's up. The next piece, that if you're a Wollongong local or a Sydney local, I've got an in-person event coming up next month, and I'll be doing breath work, constellations, and shaking meditation. And those three technologies combined allow for an interrupt into your normal way of being that will set you free. So if you're someone who doesn't trust yourself, full of self-doubt, second guesses yourself, maybe has some imposter syndrome in there, all of those things are a symptom picture of an instinct injury and a symptom of you not living a life that's aligned with you and who you are and what you want to bring to the world. So those three techniques, the constellations, I'll be doing my own version of constellations, the esoteric constellations. I find family constellations take way too long. And I found being a synthesizer and pioneer of things that are new, a much faster way of doing constellations, where I can exact what is the dynamic that is blocking you from creating the life that you want to create very quickly. And it embodies it in the same thing. It's genius. And then Reichian breathwork, which is the granddaddy of East meets West breathwork, where you move the body with the breath. And it's in the moving of the body that you embody more of what it is that you're here to be. And then some shaking meditation. And for those of you who are rigid and stuck in patterns and don't know how to dance offbeat, that's a typical call sign of the rigid. Don't know how to dance offbeat. It's a real challenge to dance offbeat and doing it authentically. Then I recommend shaking meditation. Now, shaking meditation can bring up a lot of inconsistencies in your behavior that you need to be perfect. So if you want to come, I'd love to have you there. Put a message down in the post below and I'll get you a link. Now, the last thing I'll speak to is I've also got spaces for my one-on-one and group work. So if you're interested in having a conversation, and this is the thing, if you're afraid of being sold to, if you're afraid of being able to say no, if you have this anxiety that comes up around money, then this is a perfect exercise for you to go through, because my process exacts what's going on for you. Can I help you? Yes or no? And if you can't afford it, then I've got other things that I can share with you that will give you some access into trusting yourself, to individuating and finding relationships that are integrity with yourself. And I've also got a new group starting up. So if you're interested in those too, then send me a message or put in the comment below. Yeah, John, I'm interested, and I can send you some more information and have a conversation with you. So in summary, if you're someone who follows me or watches my stuff and then gets activated and triggered, know that it's coming from an open-hearted place. And I know that it might feel painful. And what I see is the transformations that are on the other side of that, where someone is shocked in a way that they might question their reality, or I might drive a wedge or an interrupt into their thought patterns that somebody else might come in and see what's going on in your life. But if someone doesn't speak the truth, and if you're someone who surrounds yourself with other people who don't speak the truth, who avoid speaking the truth, who avoid challenging the status quo, then I assert that your life is one that's comfortable, and not comfortable in a way that's correct for you. It's comfortable because there's no challenge. It's comfortable because the chaos is kept at bay, and then the chaos creeps up on you when you least expect it, when you're unexpecting it, and you can't be with the chaos, so you panic. And if this speaks to you, then I can help you. I can help you sort through your chaos and find the jewels of wisdom, to find the clarity, wisdom, and self-trust that I know deep down that you want for you, your life, your family, next generation, kids, and the world at large. All right. Thank you all for listening, and mad love. Bye.